Yes, guys, how's it going? Had to remember to unmute myself then. Welcome back to All for United. This is All for United Uncut. Hope you're all doing wonderfully today. Yes, that thumbnail. In fact, you know what? I'm going to bring up the thumbnail again because look at it, read it, and be informed. United are going to win the league. That's all I need to say. See you after the intro.
Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from Passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Yes, you absolute psychopaths. This is All for United Uncut. Welcome back. And that voice of Ben is booming in our ears once again. Only on All for United. It's wonderful, isn't it? And also a bit scary. How are we all doing? Why are you all muted? Unmute yourselves. Come talk to me.
Is that better for you?
There you go.
What are you all drinking on this fine evening?
Well, I'm a bit of a connoisseur tonight. I got a crisp white.
Is that Connor with an ER and an OR?
Oh, well, it's with a OR. How you pronounce it, correctly and spell it correctly is with an OR. It's a
and also, what have I told you about that glass?
It's my favourite wine glass. I love it. It's as sophisticated as the wine inside. So cheers, everyone.
And as Tory as the guy who's holding it. James, what are you drinking?
I'm on water again. I don't have any beer in this house, so I'm just sitting with a cup of water at the minute. Unfortunately.
Was that Foster's again? Is it?
Yeah, good one.
And also, James, would you like to explain what's in the left of your screen?
That's the TV show that was literally just paused minutes before coming on. I can't figure out where it is over there. Minutes before coming on, because of my dedication, I arrived a couple of minutes before we kicked off, as the real prepared person that I am.
Wonderful. Slabhead, what are you drinking?
I'm afraid I am also on water. Buxton water. So.
Oh my god, boring. Right, comments. Let me know what you're all having. How are you all doing? If you're new to All for United Uncut, this is the show where you have sensible content for about 45 minutes, and then after that, fuck knows what happens. So make sure to stick around for the entire show. Let me know what you guys are drinking in the comments as well. If you're new, of course, as always, subscribe, like, do all that jazz. Let's get into the main topic of the evening then. United are going to win the league. Expand.
Does there any more need to be said? I mean, it's just fact by this point.
Might as well end the show. No, in all seriousness, no. It was an emphatic way to start the season yesterday. I'll go to Slabhead first because he was there at the game. Talk to me. How was it?
I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. I'm glad my prediction was right as well. Let's get that in there straight away. But I mean, as it's obviously difficult to give a full tactical view from where I was. I couldn't see the. Obviously at the other end of Stretford lower, so couldn't give a full bit. But I mean, everyone just had a solid performance. There wasn't anyone that had a below 6, which is what you want. And I know there was a lot of the atmosphere was never going to change. It was always going to be electric anyway. But there were a few people just going, when that team sheet got read out, it's like, it's Freddie McTominay again. It's Dan James again. It's like, and there were a few people saying it's the same as last year. But, result was fairly similar to last season at Old Trafford as well. And I think people really underestimate the influence of the fans. We've seen it across the whole Premier League weekend anyway. I think only 2 teams three now, obviously, with Newcastle, haven't won at home this weekend. So that was definitely a major influence. But it was just a good performance from everybody. Like I said, Bruno, Pogba, McTominay was actually one of my shouts for man of the match. I think his performance went really under the radar. Just winning the ball back, his link up with Bruno and Pogba was very good. So, yeah, it was just a solid performance from everybody. And it's like I said, you don't need everyone to have 10 out of 10s to beat teams like Leeds. We're going to need it when we come up against City and Chelsea and so on. But for a team like Leeds, it's all you need to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Like, no one... I've lagged. I'm here. No one was lower than a 6 is a good way of phrasing it, because... Like, when I think about it, I can't think of anyone I was annoyed with at any point in the game. Maybe Pogba for that miss, but after that, he goes and gets 4 assists. So I'm just like, well, okay, maybe Dan James. Maybe that's the only one that I'd say had a iffy game. But yeah, that's all I'd say. Stu, how did you find it? Because there's a question I'm going to ask you a bit later on.
Yeah, and I was, to be fair, a bit like Connor. I suppose I raised an eyebrow when Fred was mentioned. Yeah, I think we all did, because I think most of us predicted that he would go with Donny and Matic, a similar lineup to Everton. But look, I was asked for my man of the match on the review show, and to be brutally honest, I didn't particularly want to pick one because I thought it would have been a bit of an injustice to the 10 other players that played, or the 13 other players, when you look at who came on, because I just thought, to a man, I thought we were excellent. I really did. And there are some times in a game where you shouldn't really pick a player above anyone else because the team performance was just so good. And I think that was that case for me yesterday. What I was really pleased about, and Slabhead is absolutely right, I thought McTominay was exemplary first half. I thought he dropped off a bit second half, but I think that was down to his fitness. I thought Fred was excellent as well. He was more disciplined.
Told you he'd score.
Yeah, he was more disciplined. And I think he did the more simple things that we've been crying out for him to do. Connor will probably elaborate on that a bit later. But for me, and I think everybody would agree, when you're Victor Lindelof and when you're seeing your potential replacement being, introduced to the crowd, a baying crowd, and to put in a performance like he did, that shows not only dedication to the club, but it just shows what a real professional he is. And I thought he shaded Maguire in his performance, if I'm being honest. But that's nitpicking, to be fair. But overall,
that's good though. The fact that we have to nitpick.
Yeah, but overall, a performance. If we do that against Newcastle, when I go to the next home game, but Southampton and Villa. Is it Southampton and Villa? No, Southampton and Wolves. Sorry, Southampton and Wolves. We are going to be. We are going to be very, very strong in our first period of games. So absolutely delighted. It was brilliant. Jakey was there. My son was there, and he couldn't believe it. He said he'd never been to an atmosphere like it. He was amazing.
On your point about Lindelof as well, people are acting surprised about that assist, but he's done that several times for United. I mean,
he did.
I think it was it Sociedad?
Sociedad. I think he. Yeah, Southampton. He did it 3 or 4 occasions last season, so he's got that in his locker. But hey, look, if you've got Lindelof playing at that level, you've got Varane coming in at A level. You've got Maguire playing at A level, along with Shaw and Juanbinho, as I've now nicknamed him. Because I thought
Juanbinho. No, hang on. Sorry, hang on a minute.
Well,
no, we're not.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. You can't have Shawberto without Juanbinho. And I thought Wan-Bissaka was again. I thought he was. It is bad, isn't it? Wanginho, maybe.
No.
Well, I'm going with Wambinho. Anyway, I just thought he was excellent yesterday as well. So, to a man, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And yes, we're winning the fucking league. Get in.
Well done. I love this. Right, let me just go through the comments quickly, because I swear I saw a comment about... No, I didn't. I made it up. There's a comment. I thought I saw something about Fred, but there wasn't. There's a comment about McTominay, Andrew Wall. McTominay was like an enforcer in the midfield yesterday, especially in the first half. I agree. He faded, but that's going to happen. Fitness, that's going to happen. But Fred scored in front of the Stretford end, like I said he would.
Oh, no.
Yes, what a guy. Anyway, James, do you have anything that was potentially... I don't know, a negative from the game?
No. I want to keep on the positives. I don't like talking negatively after a 5-1 win. I'll mention, obviously,
love that. Well done.
You said you were frustrated about Dan James in that game more than anything. I actually think he was I thought he played a really big role in our side. I thought, obviously, we've spoken about McTominay and Fred and the energy they gave. That was the perfect midfield partnership, matching the energy in the middle. I don't want to see him against Southampton, though. It would be a completely different game. But obviously, we might talk about that at a later point. But Dan James, you saw... I'll start off by saying, where did most of our attacks come from? It came from Greenwood or Fernandes picking the ball up in that hole, spraying it wide, etc., picking out Pogba. And that was in large thanks to Dan James. I don't want to go too close to sounding like Rick the Red here, but... he was important off the ball,
Rick the fucking Red.
Oh dear.
On the ball, he was, again, I'll admit, he was pretty frustrating. I didn't appreciate his on the ball work, but off the ball, So our Leeds wanted to play a high line, didn't they? That's what they came to
Yeah.
do. It suited us better, but the fear of Dan James in behind meant they couldn't be as high as they wanted to be. So they seemed like they were sort of stuck in two minds, whether to push high or drop deep, and that really allowed Mason Greenwood and Bruno Fernandes to play in that hole with a load of space. That gap between the Leeds midfield and the Leeds defence was unnaturally wide, and I think that's mainly because of how scared they were of Dan James. So I think whether he played well or not, I won't give him credit for his actual performance, but just the fact that he was there in the first place deserves a lot of credit, because I think that's the reason we created as often as we did and we looked as dominant as we did. It was just that fear of him playing.
James, that's the unnoticed side of football, you know. What you're talking about there, nobody notices it. Everybody looks at, what's Dan James done in the game? He's touched it 3 times. If you look at his heat map, you know, he's running around. Well, he's not contributing because he hasn't touched the ball. Actually, what he's doing, as James quite rightly pointed out, he's pulling centre halves out of their comfort zone. He's pulling fullbacks out of their comfort zone. Robin Koch, however you pronounce it. I think it is Koch. I think it is Koch, isn't it? See, it's Koch, isn't it?
Keep saying his name. Maybe I
was wondering where you were going with that then.
But him,
you can't just shout cock in the middle of it.
No, I know. But the disconnect between him and his 2 centre halves, Calvin Phillips wouldn't have allowed. But James is right in his analogy. But it goes unnoticed. Stuff like that goes unnoticed in football matches all the time. So, you know, I'm pretty sure Johnny FX wouldn't have fucking noticed that, James.
Why are we calling out everyone? Right, let's not do that.
Connor told me he texted me on WhatsApp. He said, "Give Johnny FX some grief tonight." So I said, "All right, fair enough." No, I'm only joking. I'm only kidding.
Don't. That's going to be clipped by a certain Twitter account.
Don't. I've been getting absolutely nailed on that.
You've been getting what?
Nailed on fucking. Every time I turn on Twitter, I'm fucking there doing something.
Shouldn't have said that, Stu.
We've not even reached the half an hour mark. Anyway, no. Who else played? Who else can we talk about? Oh, right, yeah. The goal, obviously, that we conceded. It was, for fuck's sake. I hate this. I hate my internet. I'm not having a good day. I don't need this lag every now and then. Right. The goal that we conceded was obviously a brilliant strike. But did we think that, because I got the feeling after I saw the replay, was there anything we could have done to avoid it? I mean, it just seemed a little bit lazy. It seemed a bit, I don't know. It seemed like we switched off and we didn't start the second half very well. And I know the strike, you know, De Gea can't exactly save it, but surely we could have prevented that. No? You're shaking your head.
He miscontrolled it. The reason he had to shoot was because his first touch was abysmal. It took him, his first touch went 2 or 3 yards ahead of where he wanted it to be. And our defenders weren't expecting that. They're expecting to control it and then run at them. By the time they'd realised what was happening, he took 2 yards, as a good striker will do, set himself, bang. So that's the only reason we didn't cover him. If you looked at just before he struck the ball, we were on him, virtually on him. But it's the fact, by virtue of his miscontrol, enabled him to get that shot off.
I'll butt in and say, like, obviously it could have been avoided. It's a game of sort of hypotheticals in that sense, if buts and maybes. I think Pogba probably could have tracked him a bit better. I think Maguire could have got out to him quicker. But when you've got a right back 30 yards out from goal who hasn't scored in 18 months, he's not. Usually, you don't expect him to be a danger from there. I think it was probably right to conserve the pressing when you've got a right back who is best known for his aerobic ability. He's a workhorse. He can run pretty quick.
Ability. Well,
that's all I can. That's all I can display it as. But yeah, you don't. You think you get Luke Ayling 30 yards out. That's the one player on the pitch that you want the ball there. So I can't sort of berate any of the United players for not doing anything differently. Obviously, they probably could have done. But when you've got a player from there, it's probably wise conserving energy, not closing him down, because he's not a threat. Obviously, very good shot. He deserves credit for that. But he does that another 10 times. He's not putting that in the top corner again, is it?
No, is he? No.
Watch him score another 5 points.
But if he controls it, I
hope he does. I've got him in Fantasy Premier League.
Oh, God. If he controls it like he should have done, he's not shooting anyway because the ball will get stuck under his feet. It's only by his miscontrol he's got that extra distance for him to be able to shoot. So, like you say, James, it's a bit chicken and egg. I agree with you. For once, James, I agree.
A bit of chicken and egg, that's the first. What do we make of De Gea? Because this is a big season for him, isn't it?
I'll quickly go on this. So in the first half, especially, obviously, because of where I was sat, obviously Leeds were attacking the Stretford End first half. Obviously, from where I was sat, you can see the players' expressions quite clearly. Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw in particular were getting quite, and I've watched the game back full on TV, and it wasn't picked up on TV, but they were getting very annoyed with De Gea in that first half. Just because there was so many occasions the ball was, and I get it, De Gea doesn't come out, but the ball wasn't like on the 18-yard box. It was coming all the way back to the 6-yard box, and De Gea just wasn't coming for anything. Like Lindelof and Maguire would have to cover it. Like crosses were going in on top of De Gea, and McTominay would jump in front of him. And you could tell there was a point, I can't remember how long into the half it was, maybe 35 minutes or so. Maguire, I can't remember whether it was Maguire or Lindelof, just turned around and just, obviously I can't hear what they're saying, but just gestured to De Gea, almost saying, come out for that. And I think it changed a bit in the second half, but Leeds didn't play too many balls over the top anyway, so it didn't really affect us too much. But particularly in that first half, and I think this is where it goes back to where we need to make a choice on what's better for the team, because when Varane comes into that back four and we play higher up, we can't have De Gea standing back 30 yards behind them, because any ball that goes over the top, it's probably going to go in. I know De Gea is a good shot stopper, but it certainly didn't feel that. I didn't really see Wan-Bissaka doing it, but Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw, it didn't really fill them with much confidence that anything that goes over the top that De Gea's got covered. It didn't lead to a goal, which is brilliant, but that is an area of concern, and it's not the first time we've seen it. I get it; it's not his game; he doesn't come out for things, but it doesn't fill the back four with much confidence. Like I said, particularly when Varane comes in and we play even higher up the pitch, because if we're going to be playing much higher up, you can't, like I said, you can't have your keeper 20, 30 yards behind who's not going to come for anything.
Yeah. No, I suppose that's a fair point, but it is going to be a big season for him, because, I mean, I'm of the opinion that he probably only started yesterday because Dean Henderson's not had a pre-season and because he was recovering from COVID. Otherwise, I think Dean Henderson starts that Leeds game. Now, what happens when he comes back fit? Oh, I lagged again. And I'm back. What happens when Dean Henderson is fit again will be the debate comes back up where we go, but how's De Gea performed until then? Or does Dean Henderson deserve the? Are we all just a bit bored of that discussion now? Because I am. I just want an answer to it.
I think he's got 6 games, hasn't he? I would say. Before we see Henderson. If he's recovering from COVID, which is what we hear, he's going to have to get back training. He's got to get his fitness, his sharpness. He's got to get his energy back. So I think he's got about 6 games. I think it's a bit of a non-event now. I think it's a discussion not worth having.
In all honesty, I'm more bored of pretending that De Gea is anywhere near as useful to this team as Henderson. I think De Gea is a much better shot stopper, but he's, Henderson, just purely Henderson's ability to be a sweeper keeper is more advantageous for us as a possession-based side than De Gea's shot stops. We concede probably I'd say 5 shots on target a game. Most of them, luckily, when you've got a sweeper keeper, come from outside the area from distance where you'd expect keepers to save it. So we're not looking for the best shot stopper. Edison's not the best shot stopper, but look how important he is to City. Henderson's ability to come off the line, we saw it with Leeds as well. There's a couple of times where Leeds got him behind. Well, there's a couple of times where Bamford and Rafinha got him behind when Dean Henderson would have just come and cleared it up, no problem. But I just think De Gea, full credit to what he's done, full credit to his ability as a shot stopper. But for this team, Henderson is far, far more useful.
John's raised a good point as well in the chat about the second goal. You can see it. If you want any evidence of it, go and watch the second goal, because the ball is right on De Gea and Lindelof's having to jump in front of him because he doesn't have the belief that De Gea's behind him coming out for it. That is De Gea's ball every day of the week. So, yes, it's great. It led to a goal. But if that's a City or a Chelsea or somebody like that, they're taking advantage of that, because it wasn't the best clearance from Lindelof that kind of just skewed through a few players and managed to get to Luke Shaw, obviously then led to the goal. But that is De Gea's ball every day of the week, and he should be coming out and getting that. I said, thankfully, it led to the goal. But
no, I'll have to watch that back and see what that's about. Before we go into our next topic, I'll go through the comments really quickly. If you're tuned in, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new as well. Stick around as well, because it gets fun in about half an hour. I can't be asked with mine today. I'm honestly just fuming. James wants to say one more thing about Leeds. He's just said in the private chat. Go on.
Why? Stop pretending we have a private chat. I'm sending you telepathic messages.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to raise on Leeds, and it's going to sound very common and like the common punditry sort of statement to make, but there is reason to believe that Leeds might suffer from burnout this season. You have to bear with me because I understand the pundits say it because they run a lot, but it is probably not. So I've been pretty bored lately, so I've been doing a bit of reading. But basically, the concept is that pressing teams have a 3-season window where they're very, very good. You saw it with Klopp's Dortmund, won the league twice, and then finished 18th the season after. Klopp's Liverpool, Champions League final, Champions League winners, Premier League winners, and then scraped in top 4. Big drop off after that 3rd season. Now Leeds have just gone through a patch of walking the league and somehow somehow missing out on promotion through the playoffs when they were easily the best team in that league. They then walked the Championship again and massively over-exceeded last season. And they've started off in an inexplicably poor way. There is possibly chance that there is going to be a drop-off this season, not because the players are burnt out, but just because of this trend that we see. It's happened before Klopp's Dortmund as well. There's whoever Klopp was inspired by has said, generally, this is the rule. I think there is reason to believe that this Leeds team won't be as good as they were last season. So I think that'll be quite interesting to keep an eye on.
That really wasn't worth it. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not really sure it was either.
I think it was, James.
Yeah. I'll just leave.
No, I'm only kidding. No, I'm only kidding.
I'm joking.
There's clearly an argument. There's clearly an argument. In there. You're absolutely right. I actually think yesterday Calvin Phillips made a huge difference to the way that Leeds would have played if he was in there. So
that's a weird way of phrasing that sentence.
I know.
You meant to say Leeds missed Calvin Phillips?
Yeah, in a nutshell. Yeah. I was getting there. I was getting there.
You were just doing a stew where you go
completely off kilter and then coming back. Absolutely.
5 different directions we get there.
Also, I've just said something pretty bad about Leeds. I've said they're probably not going to do as well this season, and you've gone, I don't care. You should be praising that, Karthik. I'm disappointed in you.
Well, it might have been the lag. The lag's reached my brain, and honestly, I just can't be asked anymore. Let's see some of the comments. Let's have a look. What's Charlie saying? He says, on the whole, Pogba tracked back better yesterday. Coaching staff improved how our wingers act off the ball. I will get into that very soon because I think that's a discussion to be had. Clean your car out, Connor. Connor, why have you been having kids in your car?
Do I have to explain this now, or is this one for later?
No, explain now.
Wow.
Oh, fucking hell. So, pretty much, I gave Benny and Charlie a lift from where we were parked to when we met up with a few other people, and I hadn't cleaned my car out, and I had about what can only be described as like 10 Lucozade sport bottles in the back of my car. So when they got in, obviously Charlie.
To be fair, tennis players drink that stuff. Yeah,
so obviously they all thought I had a sponsorship deal with Lucozade, which I don't. It would be nice, Lucozade, if you are watching. Nice sponsorships to have, but yeah, that's what he means by that. To be fair, he didn't complain about my driving though, which would be more insulting.
Other energy drinks are available. Gatorade if you want to sponsor us.
Yes. And Powerade. Gatorade, though, lovely.
Okay, right. Anyway, let's get into our next topic then. Tactical changes. Now, you might get rid of the sponsorship. We're not having product placement in the video. If my internet's going to let me introduce the topic, we'll go for it. Tactical changes. Now, it looks like our business is done. It looks like our business is done, and we might not be signing a midfielder unless we can sell about 5 different players. Do you think Ole will need to change what his plans were at the start of the season in terms of how we're going to set up? Throw to the floor.
No. I think it just very simply from me, I think you can't go into it depends how good your squad is, I guess. And there will be an argument, maybe Stu and James will disagree with me, because obviously City and Liverpool do it and Chelsea to an extent. But for me, it depends on who you're playing. Like you can't, in my opinion, I don't think you should go into every game saying, right, same system, we're going to play the same way, the same 4-3-3, whatever it is, tactically against every team, because the way we played against Leeds It'll be completely different to the way we play against City. It'll be different to the way we play against Norwich. For me, I don't know whether anyone disagrees with that. So I think on a tactical point of view, I think it depends on who you're playing rather than 4-3-3, same system, no matter who we're playing. Because I don't think necessarily, we don't have the midfield to do it. I said Fred and McTominay were brilliant against Leeds, but I don't think they're going to be the best two to play against Southampton. So I think it depends on the opposition and the kind of systems that you're up against. I said at the moment, I just don't think we've got that midfield to be able to do it, to be able to do a consistent 4-3-3 in every single match.
I'll probably agree with.
I get that. I get the argument, but it's about having the plan A, and if the plan A is not possible, surely that plan A then needs to change.
I think I'll build on what Connor says. I think given that we're not going to get a defending midfielder, I think it probably has changed from what he'd wanted. But I think now you've got to split it into two different midfields based on your opposition. Partly because of the opposition, and partly because Matic's legs can't play probably over 75% of these games. So I think you split the season in two. Anyone who's going to take the game to you, so probably top 6, top 8 and above, and then anyone who's going to drop back. And I think if you're playing a team that will drop back in a low block, you put a midfield of Donny van der Beek and Matic in. You break them down. You don't need that energy in midfield. But if you're playing against a team who will take the game to you, you want to hit on the counter, you need that energy. You play Scott McTominay and Fred, because then that keeps everyone fit. It means Matic doesn't suffer from any sort of burnout. Obviously, barring any injuries, I think an injury could send this all spiraling. But I think then you've got that tactical nous as well, where you're not having that same problem where McTominay and Fred are just struggling against the lower teams. And you'll also be able to reap the rewards of what Scott McTominay and Fred do offer, while also being able to implement Matic into this team.
So I'm kind of in agreement with the lads, but I would go one step further and say that with the squad that he's assembled now, with the inclusion of Sancho, forget the defensive side of it, let's just talk about the front six then. With the inclusion of Sancho, Ollie kind of has a more fluid bunch of options to use than what he had. He doesn't have to be static with Fred and McTominay or Matic and Donny van der Beek. He can run Pogba, Van der Beek, McTominay as a 3, and he can play Bruno, Cavani and Sancho up top. He can run a multitude of different types of players in different types of positions. And believe it or not, I had this conversation on the Tactics show Thursday with Karthik, and I raised a point about Donny could play a 6. Now everyone was telling me, and everyone keeps telling me, Donny can't play a 6, blah 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 blah. But you're forgetting the intelligence of a professional footballer, and this is the point that I was making. An intelligent footballer can play anywhere on the pitch competently. I'm not saying he's a specialist; he can do it competently. And people like Donny, people like McTominay, people like Fred, as Connor, you would have noticed live, when they do the simple things, they're very competent footballers. And that's sometimes what you need. And James made a point about Dan James. People would look at him, and I saw loads of stuff on Twitter. Dan James is useless, get him off at half time. But he did more in that game by not touching the ball than he did when he touched the ball. And this is where people's eyes don't understand the game of football. Everybody talks about the eye test. I hear it all the time, and it pisses me off, really. Oh, he's not great on the eye, he's not great on this. Hold on. When you're in a live environment, you can actually see what's going on. When you're on the television, if you're watching the game and you're watching what's happening on the pitch, you can see what's going on. And so Ollie, in his wisdom, has designed a team that he can be really fluent with, and he can keep managers guessing, because we've got, when you look at our bench yesterday had Sancho on it, it had Martial on it, okay, it had Mata, you know what I mean? It had Matic.
That's without Cavani and Rashford.
Yeah, it had Van der Beek on there, you know, and that's without Varane, Cavani and Rashford. Look, we know really to take us to the promised land, we probably do need a good specialist CDM. But when you actually look at the attacking talent that we've got and the competency around the pitch that we've got a really strong squad of players now, a really good, strong squad of players. And if you get those players playing right, and with I don't like the smile on the face analogy, winds me up, but as a collective that I talk about all the time, with a determination, you know, do we really need a CDM? Yes, we do. But you sometimes have got to go with what you've got. So just
on
throwing it
that,
out there. Just throwing it out there.
Just on that question, do you think the signing of Varane offsets it?
Look, I said in one of my very first shows, Connor, you may remember this because you're on with me. I made a point of a good centre half, a good keeper, and a good CDM. That's your spine. You know, that is the one that sets up your team from a defensive point of view and an attacking point of view. That's what gets you going. If you've got a good talking centre half, you've got a good communicative goalkeeper, a good communicative centre CDM who can get the play and the game flowing, you're solid. Now, with the addition of Varane, and I've made my point very clear about Henderson and De Gea in terms of Henderson being a more aggressive goalkeeper, being a more risk-taking goalkeeper, and that will complement actually Varane, Lindelof, and Maguire, whatever he does, because when you think about where we are now, it also gives Ollie the opportunity to play a back five if he wants to, a three with two wing backs. The way that our squad balance is now, 2 additional players has completely changed it, completely changed our balance. And Connor's right, and James is right. So I agree with the pair of you. Different types of teams, different types of, not formations, but different players. As James added about James on Saturday, he's the right player for Leeds, but he wouldn't be the right player for Southampton. So that's the way I view it. That's
just jumping on the back of it. Obviously, we all talk about, and it's still going to be the talk until the transfer window ends. Do we need a CDM? All this kind of thing. What was really noticeable yesterday, and this was evident within the first 2 minutes, McTominay and Fred were working very well. One would sit, the other one would go as like a box to box. Whoever would go, the other one would stay back. Now, because they're both fairly, obviously people would argue about Fred. He's still a decent-ish footballer. He's not the six that we want. He's not that box to box that we want. He's not that attacking midfielder that we want. But those two together did work very well together. And even Pogba was coming back if they were both going forward. Pogba would then drop a little bit deeper. And the way that James and Greenwood were working, they were almost like split strikers at times, because there was a lot of occasions where Wan-Bissaka was left isolated on the right, which is never ideal. You had Fernandes playing almost like that Cantona role, again, like he likes to do, behind Greenwood, very, very high up, and obviously making those runs in behind. But that, again, is what Stu was talking about, the runs of James, the runs of Pogba that he was making as well, were pulling players out of the way, and that's what goes unnoticed. You need players that make runs off the ball to be able to create space for others, and that's what works so well. And like I said, all this discussion about needing a six and things like that, yes, maybe if we want to go and win absolutely everything, we probably do need a proper CDM. But what was brilliant to see yesterday was Fred and McTominay working much better than they ever have done. In one goes, the other one stays back. Whereas it's last season, we saw it a lot where it was both of them would sit back, and then it would the gap between Fred and McTominay and then Fernandes and Rashford, whoever was in that three in front of them, was so big we could never progress the ball to the attackers. Whereas now you had one of them sitting, the other one playing the ball into Pogba, Fernandes, whoever it was moving forward, and it was a lot, more cohesive and easier to get into attack, and that's why we dominated, going forward, especially in the second half.
Yeah, you made a good point there with that. When we see McTominay and Fred, we think, "Oh, why are we playing two DMs?" But it wasn't that today. Well, yesterday, it was more fluid. And as Stu said, this United team is built to be more fluid, and I think that's what works with Pogba on the left, because it wasn't him on the left. It was sort of a free roll, which is what Ollie went out and said it was. I'll use that lag break to give myself a breath. So it was a free roll, which meant that if he came in, you had either a McTominay or a Fred to support him and create the overload, while one would sit. And that's where the natural you sit, I go came in, and it sort of all just blended together. And I think that's the most exciting part of it, which for me says, yeah, it's a short-term fix, but maybe we do need that defensive midfield. James, you've been awfully quiet, so I'm going to ask you now. What do you think? Do you think we desperately need that, or?
From what I understood of that question, I'll say I think it's obviously something we do need, and I think I'm probably gonna get pelters for saying this, but I think while we're not favourites for the title, while we're not expected to win the title, I think that there's City, there are better teams, but there is at least one better team in this league than us. So while we're in this phase, we're probably not desperate for one. I think if we don't have a holding midfielder by next season, then you start to think, is there any ambition here? But I think, obviously not judging on today, but I think I've got to be neutral and say that City are a better team than us in terms of depth. You know, first team quality is probably pretty similar, I'd say now. But just City have that edge with the depth and everything, and that plays a big part of it. So while they're likely to win the league again, I think we really get this set of players properly settled, you know, get this into a real working formula, gel them properly, and then add that final missing piece next year. And it could be sort of a Van Dijk situation at Liverpool, where you've got a very good team around him. You add that player in that you need, and suddenly you watch the team explode. And I think that could be a way to do it. Obviously, I'd much prefer we got one in this season, but I think maybe just use this season to develop the players, get them gelled. Obviously, win a trophy at least. Otherwise, everyone's going to be pretty annoyed. But you know, next season, if we've still got this same group of 10 players without that defensive midfielder, add in that missing cog, and then, you know, Fergie days are back.
Fair enough, and hopefully that's how it goes. Right, we'll take a quick break to check on the comments. As always, make sure to like the video. There's 18 of you watching. Lovely to see you all. There's 4 of you on Twitter. Come to youtube.com/allforunited. Get over there. Why are you on Twitter? And there's 1 person on Facebook. What are you doing? Lonely bastard. Come over here. Come to YouTube. Lots of talk in the comments about McTominay and Fred. Chase got James thumbs up, and I don't know whether he means our James or Dan James.
It was literally a minute ago. He's got to be talking.
I'm going to
assume
he means Dan James.
Thank you, Che.
It's going to be Dan. It's going to be Dan James. Charlie, I'll get to your question in a bit. Don't worry about that. But before that, let's talk about that thing that happened before kickoff. Because first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, what the fuck? And third of all, what the fuck? Raphael Varane. He just walks out in a full suit, holding a shirt, and goes, "All right, I'm here now." And we're all just like, what?
I've got to give credit to the club for keeping that transfer so quiet. That really did shock me when Raphael Varane, Real Madrid's Champions League winning defender, joining Manchester United. Who saw that coming, really?
I mean, he's half joking, but I do also want to say, because Stu said it on the, when did he say it? Was it on the review that he said it? But the shithousery, Ollie, on the press conference, he goes,
said it on the review,
it's not completely done. And then the next day he's letting him walk out on the pitch. I'm just like, fair play. Connor, you were there. Let us know how that was.
Oh, my life. I genuinely cannot put into words that. I mean, like I said, you can picture it. I'm glad the noise came through on TV, but the atmosphere was electric anyway. You know, you could have brought out Phil Jones and the crowd would have gone up. You know, it was ridiculous. But I'm waiting for Karthik.
All that noise would have just been from Karthik.
Yeah.
Phil Jones in the
exactly.
6. Yeah.
But I mean,
Phil Jones in the 6.
I'm not, you know, over the top in saying this. That is, I've never ever felt something like that in a football stadium. I'm sure Stu was obviously talking about. Obviously, his son was there as well. There was that moment of obviously where I was sat. I could see when the players are coming out. You know roughly when they're in the tunnel because you can see the cameras being set up and people moving around just in front of the tunnel. And I noticed there was a lot of cameras down the front. So I was like, something's happening here. You know, something's going on. And next thing you hear, obviously, Alan Keegan over the mic. You know, welcome so and so. And when he said welcome Raphael Varane, I can't explain that noise, and that was celebrated as much as the goals, if not more. It was incredible. I can't put into words what that felt like. And after it'd gone back down the tunnel, it literally was like that moment of what the fuck just happened. It didn't go silent, but it did just go like, what the fuck? Like, what have we just seen? Yeah, I mean, what a way to do it. There was definitely some complication in the week. I don't get how United want to dress it up. There was definitely something holding it back.
There was.
But to do it...
They couldn't shoot a video, that's what it was.
Yeah, he's never, ever going to get a better reception than that. First game back with full fans after 18 months away, whatever it was, against Leeds. What a way to rile up, bring the atmosphere even higher than what it already was. There was no better way of doing it.
Go on, Steve.
Yeah, I just said on the preview that it did bring shithousery to a higher level. But what I was more impressed with, was an old-fashioned unveiling of a player. None of this fucking piano bollocks or fucking drum roll or whatever. It was just get out, hold the fucking shirt up, the end. You know what I mean? That's how it should be done. And Jakey was saying from where he was in the Alex Ferguson stand, he could see the photographers inside the tunnel, but he didn't know what was going on. And then I was watching on BT, and even BT hadn't got a clue what was going on. It was weird. And then all of a sudden, Keegan comes on, and away you go. So, and I had absolute goosebumps myself while I was watching it. And you know, I've seen many unveilings at Old Trafford, and you can't beat an unveiling at Old Trafford. And you know, Leeds must have been thinking, what the fuck today of all days? You know, the crowd was buzzed anyway, and it just took it to an extra level of excitement.
Imagine being a certain £100 million midfielder across the road right now.
Oh, well, he'd be crying. Yeah, he'd be absolutely in tears, he did, because I think only about 10 turned out to see him, didn't they? 10, 12.
Meanwhile, this French fella's out in front.
But the thing is, he looked every bit. He looked every bit the Manchester United player, didn't he? Come out in his Armani suit. He looked sharp.
How do you know it was Armani?
I've got a few. I've got a couple myself. I don't think he got that off Savile Row. It looked a bit Armani to me, but no, I'm only kidding. He just oozed. You know, some people ooze class, didn't he? And the whole thing oozed class, and it just took football back to where football should be, when the fans are able to see a new signing unveiled. It was great.
Do you know what else was brilliant as well? Right at the end, just before he went down the tunnel, the 2 fist bumps he gave to the Stretford end. You can hear that when I've watched it back on BT, when he goes into the tunnel, and you can hear the crowd.
When he did that.
Like I said, the roof came out.
I don't care. I saw his fist and I was erect.
I mean, yourself here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Ferdinand, though, what a tit. He goes over and hugs Ferdinand, and Ferdinand didn't even shove a microphone in him. Tell us your first words. Speak to the crowd. But, you know, he's an amateur, isn't he? Not like us. Not like us pros.
No, he said it was his moment. He just has to leave him. Just leave him. Let him do his thing.
He bottled it. Ferdinand did. You know.
If he asks him a question, we don't get the fist bump at the Stretford end.
Yeah, to be fair, the crowd wouldn't have heard it anyway, because I said that would have not on TV. It should have been Keegan going up to him saying, you know, say something to the crowd, if anything. But
he should just turn around and goes, "We're going to win the league."
I heard Keegan was in the dugout wanking off like the whole of the fucking stadium. That's what I heard. So, you know. Bollocks! I've just realised that's going on fucking out of context.
Right. My question that I wanted to ask when I brought this concept up is that the best unveiling ever? Oh, they didn't want me to ask that question. I'll ask it again. Was that the best unveiling ever?
It's going to take some beating.
The only one I can think of
is the Ronaldo
Kaká one at Real Madrid.
But there's a shout for comedic value. What was it? Was it Cazorla at Villarreal with that inside that casket or whatever it was with the smoke that went up and he just appeared? That's got to be.
Or the Koscielny one where he takes off the Arsenal shirt and puts on the Bordeaux one.
What about the Martin Braithwaite one where he couldn't do the keepy uppies? The Braithwaite one was hilarious. He couldn't do it, could he? Absolute quality. I think, you know, I mean, social media is great. I mean, it was brilliant to see him get his phone out, wasn't it? Stick it straight on Instagram or whatever. That was great. But, I mean, the social media, do I remember Robbo's unveiling?
Oh, here's a question. I was going to bring that up. Did that give you the memories of that?
Not really. I suppose so. I mean, if I remember rightly, John, and forgive me if I'm wrong here because my memory's not brilliant on it. I think Robbo came in a Tesco suit. It was like a brownie coloured suit, if I remember, with his permed hair. And he signed his firm.
I reckon Sturt runs one of these drip pages on Instagram.
How do you know? Yeah, like how do you know what everyone's wearing?
John might be able to tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like a camel coloured brownie.
But anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah. Do you know the funny thing about it is? when you look at the modern game as opposed to yesteryear, in many ways, you didn't have the. You were watching live games if you were lucky on. What was it called?
TV.
It was a television, Stuart. You remember them?
No, I know, but what was the program called? It was on ITV. Match of the Day, obviously on BBC One, but I can't remember the program's name. But you very rarely would be lucky enough to watch a. Yeah, he was wearing a brown suit. Yeah, you'd be very lucky enough to watch a live game back when Robbo was. So you didn't have this kind of access to it. So it was Match of the Day on a Saturday night, or that was it really. Unless you were lucky enough to get the odd one or two live games. Fast forward to today, everything it's on Twitter, isn't it? It's everywhere, isn't it? So, I guess no, it's a completely different era. You can't really compare the two, really.
Can I just compare the two
Similar
big
vibes,
announcements from this? The two big announcements from this transfer window. Then you've got Varane out to the full crowd, loads of noise, holding the shirt, looking happy, fist bumps, everything. And then you've got Messi's at PSG. It's a drone flying around an empty stadium, just cutting about, nearly crashing. Pans to him. He's holding the shirt. He's pretending to be happy. There's a gun pointed to his head saying, smile. And that's it. Oh, yeah, we signed Messi. Empty club. Empty club.
We're not interested in Messi. We're not interested in him. Clown.
And Jack Grealish got fuck all as well.
Well, Jack Grealish, didn't they bring him
win-win.
out in front? As I say, didn't he have a press conference in front of about 10 or 20 people or something ridiculous like that? It's pathetic.
He had his unveiling after he'd played for the club.
That's bad on the club as well. I actually did. I shouldn't say this on the United channel. I actually felt sorry for Grealish in some sense. It's like, what's he supposed to do?
No, we hate Jack Grealish now.
It's like, that's on the club. I mean, what a ridiculous idea. He's played already. Let's unveil him in front of 100 odd people or whatever it was, and then ask him stupid questions. Like,
Can I just say, Grealish played 1-0. 100 million quid, played 1-0.
Also, Grealish's announcement was effectively just a meet and greet with fake crowd noise.
It was awful, wasn't it? I mean, it was bad, wasn't it? Sancho's was good.
Stu.
You know,
You know what he is?
Yeah, go on.
You know what he
A
is?
poser. Yeah, absolutely. He is. Did you see his haircut today? Did you see his haircut today with that fancy girly Alice band he's got on? What?
Oh, no. Right. Okay. No sexist comments here, Stu. No, you just lost your full screen privileges.
Oh, okay.
Can we bring down the
say that?
lookalikes? I'll get one up for.
Yeah, get an Alice band.
Right, we've reached the 45-minute mark, so we can do whatever we
Can we?
want now. Let's see what the comments are saying. Now my lag doesn't matter. I can say what I want.
Can you imagine Connor wearing an Alice band?
do you know what? it is a story for you then. What a time to tell it on Uncut. I actually used to have to because my hair used to be like down here by my shoulders.
I need to see a picture of that.
So I used to have to wear one because my hair was like quite long, like far back. So it was like down here.
Why didn't you have a ponytail then?
Well, it was just easier to wear like one of the ones that kind of held your hair up, you know, like because obviously I played tennis when I was younger, so it just helped, you know, one of those.
What,
you play tennis?
You're trying to be Bjorn Borg or something like that. Is that your
I guess you could say I look like a bit like that.
Connor plays tennis.
Well, apparently, that's the new news. That's the new news.
I know we've got. I mean, we need something for you and James. Stu's the footballer. I'm a tennis player. What we saying for you two?
Well, James is the chess player, isn't he?
KFC worker.
Stu, you're implying I have any sort of intelligence. I appreciate that.
Oh, I am implying you've got intelligence. Yeah, you're not a KFC worker, are you?
Unlike Garthik, no.
Yeah, I'm the KFC worker. Anyway, Stu, if Grealish scores a hat trick, you should embrace that Grealish hairstyle.
No, I've got enough hair for a start anyway. And the old curtains that he's got used to be in and around the 90s, the early 90s. I mean, he's going back to quite an early haircut, really. There,
fucking Dunelm FC.
Well, basically, he's embarrassing, really, isn't it? I mean, it just doesn't look right. I've got better cards than him, but you know.
Show us the cards, then.
No, I'm not showing you my cards.
You've got to now.
No,
you can't be making claims like that.
Yeah,
you publicly wear a Liverpool shirt, but you won't get your calves out.
I won't get my calves out. These legs, they're worth money, these legs, I tell you. I scored 6 tonight, lads. Just having a
Stu's
quick
got
night with the lads.
Stu's got an OnlyFans. What? You scored 6 goals?
Scored 6 tonight, boys.
Who were
He's
you
well
playing?
happy.
12-year-olds.
No, they were
they
8,
were-
8-year-olds.
They were
No,
Pele
no.
goals. He was just battering a team managers at under 8 level.
I'm just saying I might have lashed a couple in with the old left peg and lashed a few in with the old right. I'm just saying it could have happened tonight. I'm just saying.
That's those massive calves coming in handy, Stu.
Absolutely.
Are these proper goals or own goals?
No, these are proper goals, Connor.
Are
Look,
these
I
small-
texted you the other day and said you look good playing tennis. All right, mate, come on. 5 in his own net. No, I was not on fire tonight. I was average tonight, but yeah, netted. No, on a Sunday night, me and my lads.
Oh, he is the classic. Oh, I only scored 6.
No, on a Sunday night, me and my lads. So me and a bunch of old timers. We play 9-a-side against Jake and his mates. So most of our team are anything from 45 to 55, and Jake's 18 to 20. It's just a great. It's nice playing against me lads. That's what I do it for, just to play against me boys.
Do you ever 2-foot him?
No chance. He did me actually when he was 14 and a Dads v Lads end of season match. We were playing at AFC Telford United, and he said to me before the game, he said, "I will get you, Dad." I said, "Yeah, whatever." I was giving it the big one, and to be fair, he did. He back-heeled me, and I've still got the 2 scars where the 2 studs went in just below my knee. Little bastard. But I tell you, it hurts. But of course, he's done it, and I'm like, "You haven't got me, have you, son?" And then I turn around and go, "You fucking little twat." As you do. You don't show it him. You just whatever, son. That didn't. You brush it off in front of him. But no, he did. I've still got the scar. Yeah, he did do me.
I like how with every show, Stu brings a new story about how he hates young people.
Well, I'm talking about my boy here. I'm talking about, to be fair, it's a rite of passage for any son to do his dad and a Lads v Dads game. It's a rite of passage. So, yeah. He didn't.
That was a very weirdly phrased sentence. Anyway, hang on. James, I'm sensing that you've got a question to ask.
Oh, it's amazing how that works, Carthy. We're just on a different level, aren't we?
Yeah, it's
this top row. We've got a different connection, mate. I wanted to bring it up because we didn't bring it up earlier. I just wanted to get Stu's thoughts on how well Mason Greenwood played in the 9, seeing as he's not a number
Stu.
9.
So I thought Greenwood's overall game was decent, and I think you'll all agree with me here, irrespective of what I think about. Yeah,
I was going to talk about
irrespective of what I think about Greenwood in the 9.
You're doing as soon
No.
as.
I think you'll agree with me. And if you look at the game, you've got no choice on this, I'm afraid, boys. We lacked our 6-yard aerial threat. I mean, his goal, he cut in.
Hang on a minute. So you're complaining because Mason Greenwood didn't score a header?
No. I'm talking about across the board. We lacked our 6-yard aerial threat. And you must have seen it. You must have seen Dan James put 2 or 3 decent crosses and there was nobody in there. And Greenwood's goal, by the way, was out on the left. But he did what I wanted. He cut in. And if you I talk about it all the time, attacking the edge of the 18-yard box on the diet. He did cut in.
He didn't
Popper's
put
ball. He did. He cut across the goalkeeper.
He's kind of running on the diagonal.
Oh, you meant the diagonal.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
well, I talk about it all the time.
I thought you meant cut into his right.
No. I talk about it all the time about playing the diagonal. He did, and he got his goal.
Yeah.
But he played more. He didn't play centrally as much as what he should do if he's going to play the 9. That's all.
I do kind of agree with Stu. I've got to be honest.
Stu, I'll raise a point then. I think
Yeah.
What Greenwood did well was he drifted into those channels when he needed to, which is what Martial did so well when he was having his good season. It's what mobile strikers can offer to a team. And I think by him doing that, we saw Bruno Fernandes getting behind as many times as he does, which he doesn't do when Cavani's on the pitch because he's just sort of in his way. So I think Greenwood not only drifted wide and offered that threat, but he also allowed Fernandes a free run through the middle by dragging one of the centre-backs across.
Absolutely. But there'll be games this season, and if Cavani's not in there, you'll need a 6-yard predator of some description. And he's just not there yet. I mean, he just isn't, guys. I'm not
yet is the key word you used there.
I
Because
mean,
he did do it on a couple. I do agree with you, Stu, because I noticed it, especially in the first half. Me and my mate were saying this a lot. Wan-Bissaka or James, whoever it was, or Pogba on the left. It's like, we need Cavani there. There was a couple of crosses. I was like, that's where Cavani would be. But he did improve it. There was a couple of chances. He actually had one in the first half, I think, right before the goal, actually, that Bruno put in and Greenwood nearly got on the end of it. And in the second half, he was a lot better at it. So I think he is learning it. And obviously, he's got Ollie helping him and Cavani teaching him. So I think it is something he can pick up, because you only have to look at last year to obviously the Leeds game. We don't know what he's going to be like, but the back end of last season and then the year prior, it is something he's clearly working on, because he is getting them more than he was, and he's definitely getting them more than what Rashford and Martial do. So I think it is something that can be taught, because he seems to be working on it.
There's a couple of points about that as well. I did see what you were talking about, and James, I agree with the mobile 9. We do need a mobile 9, but that's the beauty of having the front three, or the array of talent we now have that can slot into a front three. And Greenwood's, he'll get his games at 9 this year, and he'll score his goals at 9, but he won't get those messy goals, those tight goals in tight games that we need. That's all I would say. In terms of Martial, one thing I noticed about him yesterday, his back to goal play was much better once he got the ball. I felt a bit sorry for Martial and Sancho in particular. When they came on, the game was up at 5-1. We weren't pressing anywhere near as what we were. So it didn't give. And I thought Sancho, I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought Sancho played it safe on his debut rather than maybe committing players. But I thought Martial on a couple of occasions, his back to goal play was better than what I've seen over the past 2 years. So I was quite pleased to see that.
It gives us different dimensions, though. That's the beauty of the squad that we now have, especially in attack. Like some games you'd play Cavani. Some, if you want a more mobile front three, you can have Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho, Greenwood, Martial, Sancho, Cavani, Sancho. Right, like you've got so many options now on who you can play there and what kind of front three you want to achieve.
Absolutely,
so it's something that Greenwood can do. In my opinion, potentially he could be both. He could be getting on the end of these things if he can improve that. Like I said, learning off Cavani will help, but at the same time, he can be this more fluid front three. And it was actually, like I said earlier on, it was actually more of a front two with kind of Fernandes in the middle of the two. Pogba did drift very central, which he does anyway when he's
diamond.
So can I just refer you guys to my favoured formation? And I spoke on many a times about Fernandez's role and how he could suit in behind the main striker, and that was kind of my point. What he did yesterday was exactly what I was getting at. And there are
almost
occasions,
a diamond, one might say.
Yes, almost a diamond. The other thing to say about it is, and I don't like the false 9 because it doesn't do it for me. But there's nothing to stop you at some point playing Fernandes as the number 9 in some games at some crucial parts in the game. And that, again, is what we saw yesterday. But look, James, I get your question, mate, and I understand where you're coming from. And your football, mate, so I've got the utmost respect for you, pal. And you are right. Greenwood offers us a more mobile version of a number 9, but he just needs to add that to his game. That's all I've been saying. I'm not saying he can't make it. I feel he can, but he's got to add certain things to his game, that's all.
I'll say I do completely agree with you with the 6-yard thing as well. Obviously, that's the beauty of having Cavani in the team as well. We've got that option, and it goes back to playing the sort of 2 different teams depending on who you're playing. I think if you play a team with a high line like Leeds, then probably Greenwood's your best option. He's got that ability to drift wide, create space for others. He's got the pace in behind as well. If you're playing a game where the ball's going to be in the opposition half most of the time, it's going to spend a lot of time in the opposition box, then probably Cavani's your guy to go to. And developing Greenwood as well. Who better to teach him to be a poacher than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
This is something we actually said because somebody made a really good point, actually, because I think Greenwood is probably, in our current playing staff, the best finisher. But why? Ole could teach him a thing or two, couldn't he, about being in the right place at the right time. And Ole scored an array of different types of goals. If anyone can remember the goals when he came on with about 20 minutes to go and scored 4 goals against Forest. He scored.
I was there, so yeah.
Yeah, he scored an absolute perler from outside the box, didn't he? The keeper saved the first one, then he bent it round him, and he scored a couple of different types of goals that game. So, and Greenwood's got the thing about Greenwood is, all joking apart now, when I talk about being 2-footed, Greenwood is 2-footed. No, it's all right. Greenwood is 2-footed, and to be a real quality two-footed player, not a competent two-footed player, but a real quality two-footed player, makes you an absolute fucking nightmare for a defender because you just don't know what he's going to do.
Just a final point that I've been thinking of. On the point of a false nine, I think it could work with this United team, but I don't think Fernandes would probably be that person to play there. I think the role of the first nine, other than creating space for the wingers to cut inside, is to link the forwards and the midfield. It's to bring the midfield forward into the game. And I just think Fernandes is probably too forward thinking for that, which is a good thing when he's playing in midfield. We want him to be direct, but I think Fernandes just doesn't have that thing inside him, telling him that, just lay it back to Pogba, bring the game forward a little bit. I think if you had Pogba and Fernandes being introduced into the game by a false nine, that could really work. But I just don't think Fernandes is that false nine sort of character.
Correct.
That's what Lingard was.
But yet his first goal was almost a fault. If you remember where he was on the actual pitch where he popped his first goal in, it was almost, he kind of run across, basically. It was brilliant to see it yesterday. All around, our attacking play was just something else, wasn't it? I think people look at the false nine in the way that Guardiola used to employ Messi and employs Bernardo Silva on occasions when he plays as or Mahrez or whatever, rather than an Aguero or a Jesus. I don't like a false nine. It doesn't do it for me. Basically, he's part of a front three. The end. That's all he is. It's just part of a front three. And
when you say false nine, I always say the best example is when Fabregas played it for Spain.
Yeah.
That's a perfect one. When I think of a false nine, I think of that. And if you're not like that, then you're not a good false nine.
But you don't see that anymore, do you?
No.
You don't see that kind of masterclass. And let's face it, Fabregas was a fabulous footballer, super intelligent. You don't see that anymore. And so, yeah, look, I was, buzzing for yes. I can't wait for. Are we Saturday this week or are we Sunday? We're away, are we?
Away, Southampton.
We don't lose away anyway. So
just the last thing on while we were talking about Greenwood, it's not really related to him being a number 9, but I have to say he gave me the best moment in this. If anyone watches that goal back, listen to the crowd noise on that goal. I was saying to these guys backstage, I don't know how you got beers into the stadium because you're not allowed to take it past a certain point, but that's it. Pints were going up in the air, like everyone got soaked. We went forward like 2 rows, jumping on everyone. It was just exactly what football should be. And like I said, that finish was just brilliant anyway. And Greenwood scores that goal a lot. That cut across,
he's scoring it.
If you watch the slow motion, Greenwood's running with the ball. He's looking down at the ball. He takes one little glance up just to see where the keeper is. That's all he needs. And that angle was actually quite tight. It didn't look it when I was there, but when you watch it back, it's a much tighter angle than people think it is. That's a hard shot to, maybe not for Greenwood because it's just a brilliant finisher. But
Connor, it is, because what he didn't do was swerve it on the outside of his foot. When you're in that position, you tend to cut across it. So it kind of swerves in. He didn't. He just went straight. It was almost like an arrow off his foot. And he only had one place
with both feet as well.
Yeah, he only had one place he could put it, and it was just in between the post and the beginning of the net. It was the only place he could go.
Basically, he had to put it the right side of the post and it's a goal.
It was the only way he could go. And a lot of players on that would have actually bent it around. They would have bent it away from it. And he got his. It was almost like, I don't play golf, but it's almost like a putting stroke. It was absolutely fluid. Do you know, like a pendulum? It was absolutely fluid how he did it. And that's the only reason he scored it.
It was a brilliant way as well to shut the Leeds fans up because, the Stretford end didn't stop anyway. Even when Leeds scored, the Stretford end was still singing regardless. But what a brilliant way, because they went completely silent after that. What a fucking... I don't know what it was in real... 2 minutes, 3 minutes after they'd scored or something like that? And then 2 minutes later, Bruno goes and puts it in as well.
What you would have seen, though, is the swerve on the ball from Pogba and the absolute...
that pass was sexual.
The precision, because... There was about 2 yards between where the ball was and where it wasn't Ayling, was it? Whoever. Was it Ayling?
Struick, wasn't it?
Struick. Yeah. There was literally 2 yards. And Greenwood was 3 yards behind Struick at the time. And he just, as his stride onto that ball, which enabled him to get away from him. That pass was just... I just can't. I can't tell you how good that pass was.
It's the weight of that pass as well.
Yeah,
it's just perfect.
That little bit of backspin.
Can I just say on Greenwood as well, the beauty of what we have here, like the reason Greenwood is so highly rated is we're now in a situation where Greenwood gets into those positions where it's still a very difficult chance. And you're more surprised if he doesn't score than if he does.
Yeah.
These difficult chances are looking so natural to him, where even cultured finishers are struggling. And the fact that he's doing this at 19, and if he'd have hit that wide, you'd have thought, Jesus, that was a bad miss for him.
Harry Kane would have dragged that.
Yeah, to have that effect on people at this young age shows what a talent we actually have.
Harry Kane would have dragged that. So would Heung-min Son, and they are good finishers, but they would have dragged it. It would have curled just wide of the post. It's a wonderful finish. And Connor's right.
Green was the best player in the world.
Sorry, Carthy. Can I answer that Jarvis comment?
Go on.
He's just said there about the atmosphere. You know, I must say the atmosphere was electric. I think. Do you know what? Certainly from what I noticed, like being around the ground about an hour before and then everything else, people. And it sounds very easy to say, but people were genuinely just happy to be back. For a lot of people, going to Old Trafford or whatever, that's their life. You know, and it's the one thing that. I've said this to a lot of people during COVID, you know, and each lockdown we've had, restaurants have kind of been here, you know, kind of open, you know, cinemas have been on and off, and all these kind of things that other people like to do. Football stadiums is the one thing, and along with theatres, that have been shut the whole time. So that feeling of everybody's back. Like I said, as soon as we walked up into the steps, into the bits where the bar is, you know, the concourse bit before, absolutely rammed full of people chanting, you know, happy to be back. As soon as you get in the stadium, nobody's talking about COVID, nobody's talking about any of that. It's just 70-odd thousand people watching the club that we love, just singing your hearts out for the team. And I think I don't think it's got anything to do with the, you know, whether there was tourists there or not. It was people were just genuinely happy to be back.
There would have been. Let's face it. There would have been.
They're always going to be, but it literally was one. I still stand by. I've been to some brilliant games at Old Trafford, but that is the best atmosphere I've ever felt. Just because, like it was, there was no talk of COVID, no talk of anything else. It was just enjoy the game, and that's how it should be. And I hope it stays around. I hope people don't take it for granted going to Old Trafford anymore. It should be every time you go. I mean, it will die off eventually, but it should be like that.
Fair enough. I don't have anything to add to that. Well, I've got about 10 minutes till I need to end the show. Is there anything that anyone wants to talk about?
I think I know this is uncut and we should be dicking about now, but it's too good a show to dick about tonight. And I'd just like to address the Souness comments because
he's the one that needs to stop thinking about.
Because I don't quite understand it really. I mean, as good as Greenwood was yesterday, and as good as the whole squad were, and I maintain my stance of that you do a disservice if you do pick a man in a match of it. Pogba just showed us what we would be missing if he does go. Now, I know we've all had our ups and downs with Pogba. My problem with him is he does it one in every 7, 8, 9 games. If he can be consistent now, is he worth keeping? Somebody asked me that question the other day, and it was Hammer actually, and I just said, look, you've got to take it a game at a time now. But if he plays like that, if he played like that for the 5 years that he'd been here, 6 years or whatever it is, then there'd be no debate, would there?
We'd be back-to-back Champions League and Premier League winners.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, we would. We would. There'd just be no debate, would there? And the integration of somebody like Donny, when you've got Pogba on his game, when you've got Fernandes on his game, when you've got a Fred or you've got a McTominay on his game, you've got a Sancho on his game, a Greenwood, Cavani, it makes it so much easier to introduce players when everybody is on top of their game. It's very, very difficult to come on for 20, 25 minutes when there's 4 or 5 players playing well below par. Donny had that issue last season. So I'm hoping this season, if he kicks, because I think he might get minutes at Southampton. I don't know what you guys think, but I think he might get minutes. But if he's coming on to a side that's oozing confidence, I think it'll be a lot easier for his development within the squad.
I'll say on Souness, bringing it
I
back
think
to that
Ole hasn't
point.
changed.
Yeah, I can see it happening, but I don't want it to happen. But on Souness, I tweeted about it at Jerry's Journal. Go and check it out, please. Follow me, etc. I was saying that the fact that the worrying thing was he defended Kane in the same breath that he was attacking Pogba, and the worrying thing now is it's gone from this funny little personal vendetta he had to it's sort of becoming like there's slightly racial undertones to it now. I don't know how you lot feel about it, but is it not coming across that way? The fact that he's with his chest, he's defended Kane. As soon as things got slightly uncomfortable with Mika Richards, they just moved on.
Yeah,
They shove it down instantly.
Yeah, it's the fact that he starts brushing away, going, "Oh, we don't have enough time. Let's not talk about me now. Let's talk about Liverpool." I'm just like, "What are you doing?"
But it's worrying that he's getting airtime when I think that it's becoming more and more obvious that this isn't a Pogba issue. This is, if Pogba was a white English bloke, I don't think this would be the same problem.
I think as well. Do you remember his comments? Was it the World Cup 2018 when he was digging out Lingard, Dele Alli as well? But he was defending Kane and Henderson after the fucking tournaments they had. So yeah, I think there is an element to that. It's like you said, James. I don't know why he's even getting airtime in the first place. The problem is things like what he says. It gets a reaction. We're talking about it now, so it's got a reaction, which is what Sky or whatever.
It's got so bad that the other pundits make fun of him for it.
Well, Mika Richards was laughing, wasn't he, when he was saying?
Jamie Redknapp did it last season.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So it's like it's obvious. Everyone can see it.
And the other thing that annoyed me is as well, and it's only a small thing. It's only a small gripe about the British media. Again, the standard media agenda against Man United. Chelsea's title assault has started. Liverpool look like they're out to regain their title. Manchester United beat Leeds. It just does my tits in. Absolute tits in. Why can't we turn around and say we're on a title charge? United's title charge starts. It does my fucking. And I'm in the media. I am triggered on this. Yeah, it just winds me up. This agenda against our great club. We're sitting top of the league by virtue of scoring the most goals and conceding, just the one. So Daily Mail, fuck you. Soonest, fuck you. And any other media outlet having a pop at us, fuck you.
Is it only me that welcomes it though? Keep trying to knock us down and slander United, because while they're doing that, we'll just keep on winning.
The trouble is,
that's what Mercedes say.
I'm bored of it now.
That's what Mercedes say every time they see a tweet from you.
I've heard on the media grapevine, and I'll talk to James briefly about the most amazing
media friends,
amazing MotoGP race that you've seen in the last 10 years. Because I tell you what, you wouldn't see Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen fucking teetering around with 3 laps to go on slicks on a wetting track, riding at 180 miles an hour, sliding all over the place. You wouldn't see that at all, would you, James? But no, I did hear that. To be fair to Verstappen, he's going to be making some kind of. He's fed up of the media having a go at Hamilton over this Silverstone crash. He just wants to race now, wheel to wheel.
He defended him after Silverstone, before Hungary, after Hungary. The media. The thing is, it's like we were just saying with Sky. It gets clicks and numbers, and it's riling people up. So they're just going to drag this every race. Shut up! Every race they'll be bringing this up. Or are they going to crash? Are they going to, whatever? So yeah, it is. Oh, here we go. Do you know what? I will be triggered if they crash out, or if a Mercedes, because it could be Bottas after what happened in Hungary. If they crash out in Belgium, I will be calling conspiracy, because that'll be 3 in a row then. So that's all I'll say. We'll wait for the Belgium one.
You'd call it conspiracy for anything.
Well, it's not. It's
Bottas could have a slower pit stop and mean the exit of Verstappen is like slowed down, and you go, I did that on purpose.
It's not unheard of. It happened in Singapore. This is going back a while ago. Piquet, when he crashed out and gave Alonso the win on purpose. Crashgate, if you remember that back in F1. Yes. So it's not unheard of.
Absolutely brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Shithouser at its best. Get in. It's a little bit like. Go on, sorry, James.
No, go on, Stu.
I was just about to say it was very, very similar to the old Schumacher thing on Damon Hill back in the 80s. If he wins, I can't beat him today, so I'm just going to pull him out. That's it. The end. Nico Rosberg in 2016 at Monaco.
Monaco, yeah.
Yeah, Hamilton's not getting pole. Bollocks to that. I'll just park it here. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You don't get that in MotoGP, though, do you, James? You don't see that in proper racing, do you, pal?
You just get people flung 20 meters in the air off their bike and somehow surviving. That's my favorite bit.
Yeah,
I was going to suggest completely structureless, positive way to end it.
Oh, go on.
If we're finished with that conversation now, I brought this up with Karthik and he didn't really give me an answer. But I think on it Uncut, I don't know if you'll all remember, we were guessing Stu's age. So I think we take that to the next level and we all guess how tall Stu is, because it's very, very hard to judge.
No,
I think
come on,
he
then.
could be anywhere between 4'11" and 6'3". There's no real telling.
You could say that with all of us. Like, I've seen Karthik in person. That Karthik's taller than I thought he was. But
no,
I don't know about.
I've seen a picture of Karthik next to that bearded man who won't be named on this channel. And
you mean the greatest footballer to ever live? Yeah.
No, I'm on about Howson.
He's short, isn't he, Howson? He's only like 4'2", I think.
Only an inch smaller than you, then, Steve.
Oh no!
How tall am I? Well, that's
Hey,
interesting.
Stu, you're a bigger man than he is.
I am.
I meant in height. I meant in height.
Oh, okay.
I reckon Stu's, I don't know, 5 foot. Well, I won't say what I am. I reckon you're 5'11", 6 foot maybe.
Yeah, I'd say 5.
Not a bad guess,
5'10".
actually.
Hang on, don't. Oh, well, you've just revealed it now. But Charlie thought 6 foot. Stu's on the same level as Varane.
Well, yeah.
Not in your footballing ability.
All I'm thinking with this is that Stu likes to mention how he gets about the pitch and tries to break young people's legs all the time. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that at an age that Stu's at if you're really tall. I think you've got to still be quite short and nimble to get across and really.
I'm going to laugh if he's like 4'11".
No,
So I'm going to go like 5'8".
No, I'm actually 5'11".
5'10".
Connor was right.
Oh,
Yeah,
bastard.
5'11" I am. Yeah, I'm definitely not 5'8", 5'11". My lad's taller than me, though, little git.
Am I going to be
He's
the
not little then,
shortest
is
on
he?
this channel? Do you reckon?
Well, I reckon. I
No,
reckon
Charlie exists.
No, I reckon Connor is 5'7".
Connor's not 5'7". He's
I
5'8".
reckon he is 5'7".
Connor's at least 6 foot. He's got to be.
No, he's
No, I don't think he is. I don't think you are.
Karthik's actually got it. I am 5'8", 5'9". I can't remember. One of the
That was close.
So,
James is probably. I reckon James is the same height as me. A bit.
No, I'd go
skinnier.
6 foot.
He's a bit skinnier. He's probably a lanky streak, but I would say about 5'11".
6
yeah,
foot.
I think Charlie's.
I don't like telling
Charlie
people my
James
height because they don't believe me.
Go on then.
6'3".
Are you 6'3", are you?
You're the same height as me.
No way.
Not a chance.
Honestly, well, when I'm down at Old Trafford, we'll see, won't we?
What do you
Not
weigh?
a chance. Look, I'm taller than you in the
6'3".
stream.
6'3". What do you weigh?
15 stone.
Well, there's no muscle on you for a start, so
I don't know how much that is. Hang on.
There you go.
So you're the same. You're never the same height as Karthik, surely.
It's Karthik, 6'3".
We'll see, won't we?
Yeah.
wow.
What? I am amazed.
Karthik, when we have this football match, we're going to make an imposing centre-back pairing, aren't we?
I'm not playing a centre back. We're the 2 8s.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
We'll be knocking about
Fair
like
Pogbas.
Decore and
Well, I only
know.
only weigh a measly 13:10, I think it was last time I was on the scales, 13:10. But it is
I don't
it is
know how much. I don't know how
it
much
is
a
muscle.
stone is.
You know, it's not fucking fat.
Charlie's saying me and Charlie are the same height. I'd agree with that. Charlie, are you 5'8", 5'9"? Because if you are, that's. I think.
Well, how tall's Mark Goldbridge?
5'4".
How do you know that?
How did you
It's
get
just
to
a guess.
6'3"?
I don't know. When I was 5'7" when I was 16.
So when you were
Yes,
16, you're
I
the
was.
same
I
height as that me
was.
now.
I was 6. I was 6 foot when I was 16.
Were you two fucking like 17 pounds when you were born or something? In fucking weight?
Fucking hell! All right, Stu.
Can you imagine
No,
it?
on a bit of weight, but fucking hell.
But the head comes out. I can see the
Cheers,
head.
mate.
She
Cheers,
grabbed
mate.
the head,
Fucking hell.
right?
Been
And
feeling
then,
a bit
and then the shoulders come out, and then it just fucking kept coming. You know, just that most people are like in and out. You two, fucking hell, kept coming.
Oh, well, that's out of context.
Yeah, I got you again.
Right. Oh, that's a fun game we should end on. Who do you think's running the out of context account?
Well, I was just thinking about this, you know. If a clip goes out tonight, it's got to be one of these fuckers in the
It's
comments.
James.
So,
I think
It
James
is.
is doing. I think James.
James has got the sly streak about him.
I wasn't on any shows last week, so I was in Centre Parks all week. Have you ever been to Centre Parks and witnessed the signal you get over there? There's no way I could create an account and post videos off it.
Which one did you go to?
The one in Sherwood Forest.
Yeah. Me and the lads are going there October, 3rd of October. We've rented a house or with a games room or something.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, just six of us going. What would you recommend to do? Did you do the quad biking or anything like that? Or
no, didn't do anything like that.
Because we can't decide. We can't decide what to do.
Swimming's always a good option. It's decent there.
That comes as part of it, though, doesn't it? As part of your package.
What did we do? Mine's gone blank now. I'm put under pressure. We played badminton. I remember that. We did that. Jesus, what did we do? We went out of Centre Parks one day to go to Go Ape. You should do that. That's only 10 minutes away.
No.
Hang on a minute. How have we got to this?
I was just thinking that. I'm just staring at the comments trying to work out who's bloody out of context.
Who do we think has created the out of context account? And you're on about your trip to fucking Centre Parks.
Well,
I think it's Brown Knight.
Brown Knight's not in the comments though, so it can't be him.
Well, that's what I mean. If a clip goes out straight after this show,
I'm sorry. Is it not?
It's got to
Is
be
it not
someone in
any
the
of us?
comments.
Is it not run by us then? No.
It's not me.
I'll
Connor's
put
the one.
my hand-
Hang on. Connor's the one who does all the clips. So
Oh, here we go. I will say categorically now, it is definitely not me. I wish it was. I wish I was running.
We all know it ain't me. So.
So do we?
Well,
But
yeah.
if
Well,
anything,
I don't have
I
time
think-
for that.
I think the fact that it's been run so streamlined and so consistently probably rules Karthik out as well, because he's just a nightmare to deal with.
I know it's not me because I keep appearing on it, same as Connor. Although James, the one of you, is an absolute brilliant. It's brilliant, the one of you. I don't know who did that.
What, the,
Topical as well.
I can't remember what you were saying, but it's really good. And the one of Ben is really good as well.
Oh, that was quite funny, to be fair. I was impressed by that one. Well done, James.
See, this is why I thought it was James, because there's some good Photoshop, and there was a thumbnail on there with Karthik shitting snout on there the other day as well.
Hold on.
This is a James
Karthik,
job.
That's Karthik.
What?
You were just dicking about on your phone.
No, hang on, they're in the comments.
Yeah,
No,
that was Karthik.
I just tweeted. I was on Twitter. Check. Twitter. I just tweeted. Who do we think it is? So I wouldn't have had time to log out and log back in as Out of Context AFU on YouTube. And plus, I'm streaming. I can't log out of YouTube.
I was going to say, I will hold my Twitter up right now. There is no other account on my Twitter.
It's not me. That's for sure.
Well, you've not showed us your Twitter, and anyone can remove your account, Connor.
What in the 5 seconds that you put your tweet out?
Yeah, you could have done it ages ago. All I tweeted, who do we think it is, and I added them, so that's why they're in the comments.
It's not Ben then.
Who knows? It might be.
Is it can't be Charlie? Because Charlie's on it.
Can you imagine if over lockdown Karthik got to have one of those like Zoom court dates for something he'd done, and he's trying to give evidence and he just keeps lagging? You just get convicted straight away. The judge would just give up.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. That would.
This is suspicious. Why is he trying to get rid of the thingy?
Who's your internet provider, Karthik?
I don't know, but it's worse than the
I
last
reckon
place.
he's hooked up to the McDonald's Wi-Fi down the road.
I think
there is actually a McDonald's down the road.
I think he's on the free Wi-Fi from somewhere as well. Yeah.
No, to be honest, it's because my entire building shares one Wi-Fi router. So
why don't you just grab yourself a Wi-Fi router then?
All right, Stu. How do I set that one up then?
Well, Connor's your computer. I was going to say gig then. Sorry, Connor.
Why would I buy my own router and pay for that when I've already got one and it's in my rent?
Well, I've got a free fucking BT one here. I'll fucking send it to you. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I've got a spare one.
All right, go on then. Send it over. We'll see if it works.
Well, email me your address and I'll send it over because I've got a BT one unboxed. Boxed up still. They sent me three routers.
I'm pretty sure that won't work, seeing as no one's paid for the connection.
I don't know, Connor.
Of all the things,
you don't just have a broadband box and it works.
Of all the things
Someone's got to
Stu's
pay for
presented
it.
himself as, I never thought internet supplier would be the one of us.
No, no. Do you know something? I go for the path of least resistance on internet. I just get the best out there, and that's it. So, and that's what I did with Halo 3 Plus or whatever it's called with BT. It's unbreakable, apparently. But I work from home, and and I'm Zooming all the time, so I have to have a good connection. So it's just for work. So,
Is that how you're posting all the out of context clips?
well, I again, Mr. Out of Context. Who is this?
This is going to be an
Are you
ongoing mystery for the
wireless?
whole
Are you
season.
wireless or wired? I am wireless, unfortunately.
I can't believe there's still 18 people watching this show when we're just talking about Stu and his BT box.
That's why I've not ended the stream yet, because there's still 18 people here.
Well, hold on. I've got 2 boxes and a disc. Well, a couple of disc things. You put those.
Those
in,
are called
in
CDs, Stu.
No, no. You get basically you get your.
I think James is getting eyes off his missus here.
Yeah,
He's
you get your
looking to the
router.
side
Then you get your.
apologetically.
Then you get your redundancy router, which is with EE, and then you get your Wi-Fi discs that you can put in each room.
Why are you teaching me about internet connections?
You guys have got complicated.
Well,
internet. Just
clearly, I'm teaching you because clearly you need it.
get a line from your get a line from the exchange box into your house into the back of the router, and then there you go.
Oh, here he goes. Oh, fucking hell.
And then use wired internet connection with the Ethernet cable, which I'm not going to pull out because I will lose internet. There you are.
Anyway,
yeah, but that's the thing. That my internet connection's not even that bad. I've sent you my internet speed.
Yeah, I will vouch for Karthik here. His ping is fine. His download speed, everything is perfectly fine. So I have no idea what's happening.
Maybe it's my laptop.
It's got. You're not getting enough bandwidth. I don't think.
Probably. If you got rid of all the porn on it, then you might be all right.
Right. Cheers, Jim.
Well, it's bound to be that, isn't it?
Well, stop sending it to me.
Yeah,
and then I'll be able to delete it.
Hey, you said you wouldn't tell anyone.
It's not just BT boxes he's distributing them.
All right. No, you can't. You can't message me for Twitter, okay, on stuff like that, please. Anyway, sports brand. What's your favourite sports brand?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We're not answering that question, Stu. We're going to end the show because James is getting absolutely murdered over the side of there.
Stu just wants his fucking brand deal from Adidas because of his shirt he's got on.
I do. Well, I've got loads of. Adidas is my favourite sports brand ever. Yes. Well, no, because Adidas isn't poserish, is it?
No, you're poserish.
To be fair, Stu, I've got Adidas on as well. So
top man, you see, Connor knows. James, when are you going to Old Trafford next? Oh, go on.
Well, it was just a question to end the show on a nice rounded note for you, but I'll let you know, Stu, when I'm going. I've not got tickets yet, but now that all the excitement of Varane's announcement has been made, to end this show, Stu, is he still a poser?
Yes.
But he was wearing an Armani suit.
And that's my point. He's a fucking poser. Posers wear Armani suits. Cool people.
You just said you had a couple. You said you had a couple of.
I have. I've also got a. I have. I've also got a. Yeah, but I prefer my Hugo Boss ones.
Yeah, but you own an Armani suit, so you're a poser.
I got a couple actually. Yeah.
On that note, I'm going to end the show. So thank you. Oh, for fuck's sake! Right, go on.
Do you reckon that picture on Google is him wearing what Armani suit or Hugo Boss?
Which picture on Google is it?
James,
if you Google Stu Woolley, there's a picture of you.
Hang on, let me actually bring it up to end the show. Hang on.
Yes, classic 92. Yeah,
it's bright blue.
Let's find it. Yeah, got it.
You on about my tux?
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah,
nice.
Tux, yeah.
Ravishing, I might say.
I was young then. I was pissed up as well when that picture was taken.
Hang on, I've got it.
That was at a castle. That was.
Right, is everyone ready for this? There's still 18 people. Fucking hell.
Well, this is going to get rid of those 18 people. Trust me. I was absolutely. Look at my bow tie. Dear me.
So suave. Look at that.
Do you know, actually, James, I haven't got that tux anymore, and I can't remember where I got it from. I haven't got that tux anymore. I've got a.
I was going to go and buy one. I'm gutted.
Well, I've got a blood red. I've got a blood red velvet jacket now. Same.
This is better.
But I've got a blood red blower, which is quite nice with skinny black trousers. It goes quite nice. So if you go to a black tie, James, that's what you want to do, fella. It's of a nice,
I'm going to buy yours off you, if that's all right.
I don't know where it is. No, I don't want that. Where the hell did you see that anyway? Why the hell would you Google me?
That's absolutely none of your business, Steve.
Right.
Because he's out of context and he's trying to find content.
Well, yes, there is. Yes. I know. Why is the people still watching after that abomination?
I don't know, but I'm going to end the
probably
show
gone
soon.
up.
As for whoever this is, we'll find out eventually. We'll find out. We'll figure you out. You'll make a mistake somewhere.
No words, Stu. You're absolutely right, Jarvis.
I reckon.
Somebody asked me. Shoes.
I reckon it's fucking. It's going to be John. It's going to be John or someone. I reckon it's John or Jacob.
What about Callum?
Jacob's here all the time. Callum.
What about? Do you think it might be Cal?
No. He can't do that. No, he's not smart enough to do that.
He's too busy bulk buying Alperson.
Where did that come from? My opposite.
Just thinking of content, Stu, that's all.
Right, I'm going to end the show because this is getting a bit ridiculous now. Thank you for joining us on Off United Uncut. It's now an hour and a half. Wow, we really can chat some shit here.
Can't we just?
And we, oh, buddy,
most of us can.
My laptop's not going to let me do. It's not going to let me do my outro, is it? Right. Thanks for joining us. Like the video, share, comment, all that stuff. Subscribe as well. I've been Karthik. That's James. That's Stu. That's Connor. We didn't even have a lot of people on today, and we've chatted some right shit, haven't we? Make sure to join us. I think we've got a show on Tuesday, or there will be a show on Tuesday. If not, there's a preview on Thursday for Southampton, and then obviously your usual reaction and next week's Uncut. And of course, another week where this might come into play. It might come into play. Keep the hope, keep the dream alive. And as always, so keep it going. Tweet the link with the hashtag. Don't forget, hashtag Phil Jones in the Six. Once again, just make sure you see it. You know how to spell it. Hashtag Phil Jones in the Six. Retweet the stream link.
Jesus.
Okay. Don't forget to join us next week. Don't forget, we're winning the league, and fuck Jack Grealish.